really a privilege to get to talk to you and an honor that you decided with who you are to join our team.
My dad, I lost him to cancer. So I dedicated part of my life to find new ways to detect cancer, new tools for personalized medicine with a passion to ease the pain of people dealing with cancer and rare diseases. I studied chemistry. I was in Scripps Research Institute, which is the top institute in the field of chemistry and medicine. We had several Nobel Prize winners in our department. Then I joined Illumina and I was a lead scientist and brought innovations related to diagnostics. Now we are here in CPI and TAM with a big mission, a big heart. It's really humanitarian. CPI, TAM, besides being talented, you are caring. It's an honor for me to work with CPI.
CPI Podcast today is a very special one for me, you guys. I'm here with one of the top leading PhDs that we have on our team working with us, Ali Asadi, Dr. Ali Asadi PhD. You know, when the email first went around that you were interviewing with us, right? I saw your last name and I'm like, I think he's Persian, you know? And then I think Ed met with you. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I told him that you lived in Iran. And so I got really excited because I have such a warm spot in my heart for the Persian people, for the time that I spent in Iran. And, you know, just I have so many Persian friends here in America. It's my favorite food in the whole entire world.
It's amazing.
Hands down. And so, man, first, it's really a privilege to get to talk to you and an honor that you decided with who you are to join our team. So tell people on the podcast just a little bit about yourself and what your background is and who you are.
Yeah. Thank you for the kind introduction. It's an honor for me. It's a mutual honor for me to work with you and your team because CPI, TAM, and all people who are involved in at different levels are very genuine people, very besides being talented, they are very kind-hearted, they are caring at so many levels, both internally and also for patients, and they have big dreams to bring something new to the health care field, which is underexplored. And a little bit about myself, if I want to share who I am and where I'm coming from.
You can brag a little bit. You can brag a little
bit. Yeah. I was born in Iran, in Tehran. I did my basically education up to the master level in Iran. I studied chemistry. I studied philosophy. I was a professional athlete in Iran. I was national champion in badminton. I was heavily involved in sports besides being involved in science. So it's a privilege to work also with top athletes in CPI and TAM and you. I also trained in martial arts. Persian loves sports. Persian loves science. What you see in the propaganda and agenda about politics, Persian people are completely different. We appreciate culture, peace, love, and all good stuff that everyone respect. I had a company. I was an entrepreneur in Iran. I had a company on diagnostics and therapeutics. The first neonatal screening program in Iran was initiated by me and my team to detect diseases that if you prevent them in early stage, you can have a very healthy generation. Which is my honor. Still, I take it as my honor. By my hand, I prevent so many innocent little ones from having permanent issues, and now they are living healthy and happy. And then I moved to Canada. I got my PhD from University of British Columbia. Got a couple of postdocs studies, and then I got a National Institute of Health a grant for working on sequencing and nanopore sequencing, the first generation of nanopore sequencing. Then I continue my career as a professor of chemistry, and I was heavily working with academic programs, but focused on how we can use biomaterials to create new diagnostics tools to, namely, better way for addressing the sequencing, which is related to the DNA, which is the hidden language of nature. And then I decided to switch gear and move from academia. I was in Scripps Research Institute at La Jolla, California, which is the toppest institute in the field of chemistry and medicine. We had several Nobel Prize winners in our department. I had the privilege to basically learn a lot from them, and if you call them colleagues, but they set a high standard for me to thrive and just have this daily practice to make a better version of myself. Then I joined Illumina in industry, and I was a lead scientist and brought many innovations with a passion to basically ease the pain of people dealing with cancer and rare diseases. And my dad was a professor at Iran, professor of political science. He was a writer. He wrote tens of books, and he was a freedom fighter, which is my honor. And I lost him to cancer. So I dedicated part of my life to find new ways to detect cancer, to bring new tools for personalized medicine. I'm honored and humbled that, first FDA approved pan-cancer test, is based on my chemistry. The first high throughput proteomic tool, which is the future of personalized medicine, is based on my chemistry in collaboration with SomaLogic and, of course, Illumina, and several other innovations related to diagnostics. Then after that, I started writing books regarding different fields, philosophy, science. And then serendipitously, I get connected with Ed and you and the team. And I found out that one of the biggest mission that you have is to treat cancer and create a new therapeutic, which is underexplored. And that basically makes me super excited, because the rest of my life, I was mostly focused on bringing new diagnostic tools. And now I was switching gear to therapeutics and bringing all of that information, knowledge, experience, passion that I have to detect rare diseases, now combine it with a platform and a team full of expertise, a tiger team, I would say, that enable the potential of bringing something totally new to the market. And here you go. Now we are here with a big mission, with a lot of challenges, but a big heart to address them.
Yeah, that's a lot. So for a layman, not that smart guy like me, at least science-wise, I like science classes, but so explain, start at the beginning. You first talked about sequencing.
Yes.
So what is sequencing? Why is it important?
Yes. It's very, very, very smart question, actually. So if you I use a metaphor. in each language, we have alphabets and we have grammar. And through alphabets and grammar, we have words and we can create sentences and we can communicate. In nature also, in the book of nature, there is an alphabet, which is the, basis of DNA, which are 4 bases. And same thing for RNA, which basically the structure is a little bit different. And through those alphabets, you create words and sentences and tell different, basically, organs and species how to be and how to behave. And basically, that's the hidden, written language of life that dictates how organic life in different species, from plants to animals to humans, to be. And sequencing is the technique and science on how to read these words and sentences and understands its grammar and basically interpret and understand what is the purpose of those sentences and words in order to having a better understanding of the rules of life. When we have a better understanding of the rules of life, then we can understand the secret behind diseases, and we can understand how we can control and prevent diseases, how we can cure diseases, how we can have a better, healthy life. And it ends up to one word: how to live more in peace and happily. So science and sequencing is encrypted language of all good stuff, including peace and happiness.
Well, it's always a lot easier to be more peaceful and happier when you're healthy.
Yes.
Right? We see that with our patients.
Yes.
When they're healthier, obviously they're a lot happier. So sequencing, you're looking at the alphabet and the words.
Yes.
You're decoding, right?
Decoding.
You're taking an encrypted language, you're decoding it all the way down from the sentence, the word, the grammar to the actual alphabet.
Alphabet, yes.
Right? And then understanding the rules that make that language work.
Yes.
And then looking at how maybe our DNA broke the rules and how to maybe fix the grammar in the sentence or something like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also there is another layer to that sequencing, which is very, very important, and basically for our audience could be inspiring. There are 2 levels of sequencing. Sequencing deals with the hardware of this language, if we say, which are genes, which basically would be inherited from parents to the children, and basically from our ancestors to us, even several generations from ancient times to us. So everything is encrypted into those genes, and some of those genes in our lifestyle, when we are living, depending on our lifestyle, can be turned on or off. For example, when we do a sport, when we have a good mindset, when we have a positive attitude, when we have a healthy food, healthy lifestyle, good friends, good connections, the good genes would turn on. And good proteins would be built. And when we are dealing with stress, when we are dealing with negative thoughts, when we are dealing with harsh condition, and everything that, spirituality tells that, lifestyle define who you are, the good genes would turn off and bad genes turn on. So diseases start to grow, to develop silently, and all of a sudden we encounter a condition which we have to deal with. But it's good for the audience to know that in TAM and CPI, we are addressing both. So if you consider that written language as the hardware, which is called genomics, that mechanism to turn on and off those genes is called epigenetics, which is dealing with methylation and acetylation of the chromatin that turns on and off genes constantly in a dynamic process. And we also study epigenetic of the human too. And we have program for that too. So that one, epigenetic, is like the software, and the genetic is like the hardware. So with the knowledge and understanding of the hardware and the software, now we have two key components of life: lifestyle and inherited genes from our ancestors. Combining these two, we have a very strong baseline to design the next therapeutics for rare diseases like cancer. This is very, very unique in even the big companies, big pharmas. Don't have this accessibility to basically several layers of multiomics, if you would say, means that several layers of knowledge of our foundation, hidden language that nature encrypted in us as human, and the access of our scientists in our team to those information to personalize treatment based on the unique nature of physiology and chemistry of each patient, which we call it personalized medicine.
All right.
This makes it distinguished, in my opinion, the approach that we have in CPI and TAM.
Okay, so I want to see if I got this right. So the genes you're saying are like the books. Mm-hmm. And since there's a lot of books and we might have inherited these books, so it's like inheriting a library, right? From our grandparents, our great-grandparents, down to our parents. So, basically our hidden language, our grammar, our words, our sentences come from those books. But it's almost like you're talking about our lifestyle, our thoughts and things determine whether or not we check that book out of the library, whether or not we read that book, whether that book becomes part of us, even though, because we could all have a library, right?
That's right.
But we don't necessarily, no one's reading every single book, right?
That's a perfect metaphor. So when you're happy, you go and just pick up a comedy book.
Yeah.
When you are inspired, you pick up a poetry book or a cookbook to make a good food.
Right.
But when you're sad, depressed, you pick a book which is like very depressing nonsense, and you encounter very, very, very nice metaphor you use. And basically we deal with a pathway that both psychologically and chemically and biochemically, how we can basically create a turning point into the life of our patient in order to bring back the harmony to both genetics and epigenetics, and both make a personalized approach for creating a therapeutic which is designed for that specific patient with the condition, and also treating their psyche through our consultation to have that epigenetic impact of good thoughts and positive thinking to turn on good genes, turn off bad genes.
All right. So pointing us in the right direction of which books we should be reading. You said an interesting thing, whereas, in these other big pharmas and places, they're not doing what we're doing here at TAM and what we're doing at CPI. I remember when Ed Clay went down the rabbit hole of learning about this and the equipment that we needed to get. Ed wants to do the best of everything, whatever it is. He wants to get the absolute best people, the best equipment, whatever it is at all times. And, we struggled at first to get these equipment companies to even talk to us or be interested in what we were trying to create. So, in order for us to be able to find that library, tell me a little, because I don't even understand all that. I know we got a beautiful lab. It's all nice and pretty, but what's the equipment? What does each part of the equipment do? And
yeah, so I can talk about that in terms of every action that we want to do in life needs tools. And of course, if you have the best idea, best mission, but if you don't have the right tool, still you can't accomplish it. So one of the key things at CPI and TAM is that the leadership, you, Ed, and Dedrick, always wants to ensure that the best instrumentation infrastructure is in place to basically have the most advanced and most efficient tools to address the basically key targets that we have. So to give you an example, we have tools for study the genomics. We have the best tools for study the epigenetics. We have the best tool for proteomics, which is very advanced. We are talking about very advanced tools that I can name a program that the UK Biobank is still the same tool for creating a portfolio of the proteins of the whole Europe, maybe globally, and we are using the same tool for our basically creating our portfolio for the proteomics of our patient, which is related to diseases like cancer, rare diseases, autoimmune diseases, inflammatory diseases, and also we're going to use those tools for product development and R&D to create next therapeutics for specifically for cancer patients. And we have also best tools for medical tools, namely very advanced MRI to basically machinery, very advanced digital pathology setup to basically study tumors, organs, and to link it with the other data that we get. We have the best tools from the Roche, basically the top of the line tools for clinical study and clinical chemistry that gives a very, very high profile of the health of each patient, and combining all of them together is very unique. Again, I would say I have worked in top flight teams and top flight companies and places, and rarely you have all of these accessibility to all of these technologies all at once on the same floor, beside the fact that we live with tens of great medical doctors, which are each of them are great in their fields, and we can have first-hand feedback from the patient's basically condition, and which, if you combine everything, that's the reason we call it translational medicine. Translational medicine is an environment that scientists, engineers, bioinformaticians, and medical doctors all live on a daily basis together without any boundaries with patients, in order to address the most challenging issues of mankind, which are undruggable diseases, terminal condition, sadly, like cancer, or patients with tremendous amount of pain that no other therapies can address it. But the therapies that we practice in TAM and CPI, namely cell therapy, can alleviate their pain and initiate a new season in their life. And this is beyond any, business goal and revenue and stuff like that. That sense of satisfaction that you change a person's life in a better way. You wipe away a tear from someone. You bring back hope to a hopeless. It's like incredible.
Yeah, we have so many incredible stories over there, and it's with all this new stuff and the new team members that are coming, on. I just look forward to being able to expand and help more people that are helpless, people that have no, what exists for them medically, their doctors, their insurance, whatever. They just give up on them.
Yes,
and so that's the most exciting part. For me, just to be able to be involved in that and have so many cool people like you that I get to talk to. I feel smarter when I get to hang out with you.
You are you're humble. You are smart.
Different kinds of smarts, It's just like, you turn down the wrong side of the street, you might want my smarts there, but when we're talking about health, I want your side of the smarts around, for sure. So, tell us a little bit about, where we're at with our program and what are the products and what are the things that we have coming, that people can look forward to or that are going to be, that you see are going to create the most hope, and the best amount of change for people in their health.
For sure. Yes. So we are basically one of the products that, our patients really love our cell therapy, line of products, which address a lot of issues with people with chronic pains, terminal conditions, and dealing with inflammatory diseases, autoimmune diseases, and etc. But beside that, we also have a team dedicated to creating cancer therapeutics, and I am actually directing the innovation part of that aspect, not just for cancer, but for all of the new product lines that we have, which is my honor. And we have a top flight team of scientists, bioinformaticians, and medical doctor, biologists that we are trying to tackle cancer from a different angle that is underexplored. So our patients can look forward to that. Maybe the recognition of this effort in few years would be in the shape of a big award. I'm not surprised even, the Nobel Committee review that too in few years. We will have a cell line therapies, which is focused on personalized medicine, addressing cancer and dealing with namely cancers that there is absolutely no medication for that. For example, pancreatic cancer, which is very lethal, and there is no approved medication for that. We are focused on type of cancers, specifically for these new lines of cell therapies, which are personalized. We take away a sample from each patient, and we basically develop a very personalized formulation based on the nature and the cell that's extracted from that person, and we put back to the tumor in order to induce the immune response of the body naturally to basically erase the cancer. There is another product line that we are working. We are also building 4 advanced labs beside basically what we have currently in the CPI Hospital and TAM, which would deal with basically peptide therapeutics, oligotherapeutics, which are basically can address different rare diseases with different approaches. We are also bringing CAR-T cell therapeutics, which is basically very advanced. Namely, FDA just cleared CAR-T approach from Scripps Research Institute, where I used to work. And it was just announced last week. So we are basically working on top flight projects that biggest institutes in the world are focused on, and that's hopeful. And the fact that we are not just having one line of product or one specific disease to focus. We are focusing on cancer, we are focusing on autoimmune disease, we are focusing on condition that deals with a lot of pain. We are dealing with the condition that is basically dealing with traumas for professional athletes or patients going through intensive surgeries. And there is another program which is basically it's my baby, and I would love to talk about it. And that's a program that deals with basically the software, the books that we talk about it. And the first phase of the program deals with the health of the human being from the epigenetic point of view, means that which book we write, and we focus on professional athletes, and the name of the program is basically is related to how fit you are and how good you are in terms of lean muscle mass that you have in your body, along with the other factors. We are starting a collaboration with basically top universities in Europe and a company in Europe to basically expand it. And our target is to basically bring it to mass population as an indicator of the health, because feeling good up to this point is just a quality. And through science, we want to make it measurable and a quantity. And if you bring that, topics like longevity, quality of life, along with nutrition and good therapeutics, good foods, good lifestyle, all together is a package that basically make these opportunities at TAM and CPI endless.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a little bit about this test that you're wanting to come out with, and I think it's amazing for like an athlete, a high level athlete, which we get every week. We have high level athletes down here, for them to be able to check their DNA, right? See which books are in the libraries,
yes.
See which ones their body is reading, and then being able to change, right, which way they're being able to read, to which ones are being read. And I know you were telling me like a little bit will be, they'll be able to really understand at the DNA level, like which foods they should be able to eat, right?
Exactly, yes.
Which supplements, they might be, one of the supplements they think is great might be the wrong book,
yes.
Altogether, medications. And then do I understand this right? Like it'll even show how like their exercise routine is affecting their DNA.
Yes. Also, with the professional athletes, one of the problems that we encounter is that, I encountered that in past when I was doing sports a lot, that you practice or you exercise too much. And sometimes it's not good actually, because when you exercise too much or you try something too much, you consume too much oxygen and your body actually performance depleted. And these tests would tell the athletes that you have to truncate. You have to basically take it easy and just, rest a little bit, make it shorter, and just give yourself a recovery time, but in a measurable way, because before that there was no measurable way to say, and the coach had to go with its gut feeling to say that, okay, you need to practice more, or now you need to recover. And we also encounter, sadly, that, for example, in soccer field or in a boxing match, sudden death happens, heart attack happens for athletes, and these tests, when you do it periodically, can prevent that, because it would take a look at the health condition underlying in the athletes, which is not, it's really hard because athletes are really strong, so they don't feel pain and, fatigue as normal people feel. So an underlying disease or condition, they might be present in their body, but they don't feel it. And suddenly everything collapses. So these tests prevent that. And not just that, some athletes may encounter trauma in martial arts, namely, or in, high impact sports like basketball or soccer. These tests would tell them, okay, you need recovery because this factor is up or down, and you have to take this, nutritions to recover, and you can come back for monitoring. Or you are at your high peak, you're good to go. You're good to go to this competition, and you're safe. Basically, your body tells 2 thumbs up. So at all these levels, we can support athleticism. We can support the fact that, if there is underlying inflammation or any diseases, or even this test also deals with psychiatry related genes for, some athletes at some stage in their career encounter the fact that they don't have any motivation to perform. So some of these genes is related to the psychiatry aspect of human being. And then we're going to extend it to the mass population.
It's just fascinating, right? It's totally fascinating to me about how much information, we're going to be able to get at these levels. You mentioned methylation before. So, Gary Brecka, I don't know if you know who Gary Brecka is, but he kind of made methylation popular. I took his methylation test. I thought it was really, really cool. Gave me some advice on the, vitamins I should take, told me I shouldn't drink alcohol. I already knew that one. I'm not a good drinker. And, just some general information I found was like really, really good information. But the part about like the exercise that it gave me on there, I'm like, this isn't like, I know my body exercise. Like if I did this doesn't like, at least I didn't feel like it would work for what my goals are. And, what I wanted to create in my health, and, just how I wanted to look and how strong I wanted to be. And maybe I am working out too much. When we get our test going, I don't feel like I'm working out too much. But according to what his plan had given me, I would be working out a lot less than I am. Seemed weird. But tell us a little bit, Gary Brecka, he's awesome. He's kind of brought methylation out to people, but explain what methylation means and then how our tests are involved in methylation.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, there is one of those words, one of those alphabets that I mentioned, which is encrypted and create the language of our biology, is named cytosine. And cytosine is one of those alphabets besides A, T, and G. And the cytosine, there are two enzymes involved that based on the environmental impact, like temperature, pH, the feelings, the thoughts, and the impact of the environment or our lifestyle, this enzyme put a methyl group, which is very smallest probably functionality in chemistry, on cytosine, and also they can take it off instantly. So this putting this, it's like a dot. It's like if you imagine, I can use a metaphor. It's like a ping pong ball. You put it on a small alphabet on our DNA, and you can take it off. Putting on and off this small ping pong ball, which is called methyl group, can act like a key and lock effect. So this ping pong ball act like a key. So it caused that word or the alphabet turn around and expose a gene to be turned on, or vice versa to turn it off. So you open a door, close a door, open a door, close a door. You can turn on a gene, turn off a gene. It's a very efficient that nature evolved to turn on and off genes. Beside that, there is another level of that on chromatin, which is the basically tools that nature used to wrap up the DNA around it. Acetylation, on and off, expose the genes. At our test specifically, that's what it makes it different from the tests which are available. You mentioned a test which is basically was groundbreaking, is the number of the genes and how deep we go to study those genes. We picked two family of these genes, which is related to several aspects of health, including cardiovascular health, psychological health, lean muscle mass, which is a very a big indicator of the health. Inflammatory related basically genes, the oxygen consumption related genes related to the metabolisms. Number of the genes that we picked in one class is 30, in one class is 100. No other products have that kind of like wide variety of genes focused on epigenetic impact of health. So when these products become commercial, basically we address several levels of health which is underexplored, and usually the kits that are available are focused, beside the fact that also we combine it with other biomarkers, and that combination is very unique. We can tell about the biological age of each organ, plus combining it with multiomics and clinical chemistry, make it a very, very unique test for athletes and mass populations. And hopefully in next year or so, we're gonna bring it accessible to the patients, athletes, and healthy people to basically decide how they can scientifically monitor their health pathway.
So since we're monitoring it, does that mean, we have all these different layers of health? If we're monitoring it, are we still able to then can we course correct it?
Yes.
Right?
We can.
Is that where the peptides come in?
Yeah. You can also, at all time, this is a diagnostic tool.
Yeah.
By itself. So it can stand alone, be a very powerful diagnostic tool that each person can use it, self-evaluate it, or use, nutritionist or geneticist or medical doctor or their coach if they are a professional athlete to basically have an insight. But you can intervene with therapeutics and our basically outlook to use peptides, to use oligotherapeutics, to use different nutraceuticals and nutrition programs to basically intervene in a way that we fine-tune it for a better quality of life, to get to the better quality of life level. So it can act like a standalone product, and also it can be in combination with our therapeutic programs and nutraceutical programs and basically nutrition programs to basically have a faster, more efficient outcome, especially for professional athletes.
Wow. Yeah. So you'll be able to come in, get checked out, make all these changes, whether it's diet, it's the peptides and stuff like that, vitamins, supplements, how much you're working out.
Yeah.
And then come back in to see how much of an effect that you've had.
Yeah. So they have a very solid indication of feeling good as an athlete.
Right.
And they have a safer decision if they want to put their body in high trauma, if they want to put in the high transition state into a fight, if it's a professional fight, in a boxing fight, a UFC fight, or they want to basically do jump from airplane, your body would be under a lot of stress. Yeah. So you need to be in a very, very high level of health. Otherwise, you would encounter your body just say, okay, I'm out. You encounter terminal condition, unfortunately. And so it's to basically prevent that and also to increase performance specifically for professional athletes, but expansion of that, genes and monitoring can be used for normal peoples. Even people, we have a program that, even everyone that goes to 24/7 gyms or LA Fitness or all of those bodybuildings, bodybuildings could benefit from that a lot too, because they use a lot of boosters, peptides. They use a lot of proteins. Those mass doesn't come by easily.
Right.
So they have to eat a lot and their metabolism is very high. So this tool would give them a online and very precise way of monitoring that, if they are, putting too much pressure on their body, or they have to take a step back, recover, stuff like that.
Well, just day-to-day life, too. Even if you're not a bodybuilder, maybe you're going to the gym a little bit.
But gym, yeah.
We know stress is a killer, too.
Stress
right?
is number one killer.
Stress will make me eat too much. Stress will keep me from sleeping enough. And being able to see that at the DNA level, the athlete part is super cool because, I know from when I used to compete, and I wasn't very good, but I competed quite a bit. And, sometimes you're going into your match, you feel great. Like, I did the training, I feel good, I feel healthy, I've been eating right. But then when you step into the actual competition, I've felt completely flat. Why do I feel so tired? Why is everything off? And I think that being able to look in your library, right, and decode the language and the grammar and the words if nothing else, you would have another layer of confidence, right? So much of fighting is actually being confident that you're gonna win. And the same thing we've learned with treating patients, especially cancer. Like if I've learned this. I've been here 10 years now working with cancer patients, and one of the first doctors we had told me, I can tell in the first 30 minutes of talking to a cancer patient if I think they're going to make it. And I said, how? And he says, if they have the fight. Because nobody makes it without the fight. They have to want to and believe that they're going to get better in order to go through this hard fight of getting on the other side of stage 4 metastatic cancer. And I always took that, I was like, oh, well, that's just like, sometimes when you see the fighter at weigh-in, right, or you see them walking out and you're like, oh, this guy's not going to win. You could just tell that the confidence isn't there. So at a minimum for the mental game, if you could do this test and see like, oh yeah, I'm checking out I'm reading the right books, my oxygen, my organs, all of this stuff is in line, would be so powerful.
It is powerful, yes.
Yeah.
So we just take a look at the key organs, including psychiatry-related genes, cardiovascular, inflammatory, everything that's related to the performance. And then it's so powerful. And I would say it would also in future maybe use that data, that mass data would be used for development of next therapeutics or next nutritional factor that would help a lot of factors. Like something I would say creatine phosphate is a known chemical that is safe to use, and everyone knows that it's a muscle food for creation and also maintenance of the body. But there is no study that, usage of the creatine phosphate on different periods and phases of basically practice, competition, recovery. What's the impact of that on our epigenetics?
Right.
So there are several levels academically and, also that can be discovered. So this tool would open doors for a lot of discoveries. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I love this. So much of it is, based on emotion and feeling. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting stronger. Maybe you can see on the weights or whatever, you're lifting a little bit, a little bit stronger and stuff like that. Or maybe you can, track your sprint time is faster or your heart rate's coming down. But this is like actually on the DNA level. So when all these tests that we're working on here, you're looking at like, how many genes are we talking about? Like how many books are actually in the library that we're looking at?
In one kit, we are looking at about 30 genes, 30. Mm-hmm. In the expanded version, we are looking at 100 genes. And we're going to expand it more because there are a lot more. So we have a discovery program to detect more and detect more books, which is unread. And maybe it's there, but we don't know basically the content and impact of that. So in the phase 3, which is discovery, we're going to also contribute to basically not just creating a commercial product, but also we're going to publish something underexplored, and also we're going to add to the basically the phase 3 expansion of these genes, which would impact health at different levels. So the opportunities is endless. And at the same time, we have therapeutic programs with small molecules, namely peptide, which are very potent, and oligotherapeutics to turn on and off genes, and also the nutritionists that we have can give very insightful recommendation, not just based on generic, but based on personalized information of that person, recommendation for the professional athletes and normal people to basically get to the next level of the health that they desire. And it's at the end of the life, it's all about quality of life that we are focused. Our passion is how we can contribute to ease pain and to bring more smile and happiness, to
More joy.
more joy.
Yeah. You know, you also talked about peptides, and peptides is something that we see almost all of our patients that are athletes, even regular people that are coming down, especially for CPI, for stem cells. They're all into peptides. It's so hot right now. But what I think I'm understanding what you're saying is I don't know a lot about peptides. Very little, actually. I've done a little bit, and honestly, I didn't see a lot of effects, but maybe they weren't good peptides. But you know, with having this library, right, we'll actually be able to personalize and see at the DNA level, is this peptide doing what you want it to do or what you're thinking? Or is it possible someone could actually be harming an athlete or a regular person?
Yes. So basically, peptides are one of the belongs to a class of major biomaterials. So we have DNA and RNA as one major biomaterial compound. We have carbohydrates like sugars, for example, that we eat, bread, things like that. We have lipids, which are fats, like olive oil, coconut oil, things like that. And we have peptides and proteins. Peptides and proteins basically at the end of the line when DNA translated into a molecule. So the DNA sentences dictates how the proteins and peptides in our body get synthesized. So based on different mutations and different placement of those words and sentences, each person synthesize peptides and proteins which are efficient in their body is slightly different. So that's the reason that there is a vast majority of what our body is consists of is proteins, and the number of proteins and the slight variations of them makes us different. Although we look all same, but at the same time we look differently. No same fingerprint is the same.
Right.
It's because of the, small variations in the genetic code that would be translated into a compound called proteins, different proteins and peptides. So peptide therapy for different aspects of basically life is important. Nowadays, we see one of the blockbuster medicines is basically the peptide-based compound that's designed for diabetes type 2, which is used for weight loss and is used for many other, other conditions of humans. So peptides are really, really powerful in terms of like turning around a disease into basically a normal condition, because they can interact with different receptors in the body. But at the same time, if we look at the genetic encoding of each person and the nature of the books in the library of each house, we can design peptide for that specific purpose. If it's an athlete, if they want to use it for, as an booster anabolic for a sport or growing muscle or for treating a disease, we can make it personalized with these tools that we have, and it's so powerful. And making it personalized is again something unique, and it would diminish the side effects that they might have and increase the efficiency. And basically, we want to ensure that by using this diagnostics design and delivery system that we are creating with this workflow, we bring efficiency, we minimize side effects, and we basically maximize the potential of peptides.
That's going to be awesome. Time to sit up and talk up again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of the things I'm super excited about. You know, all this personalized medicine, you know, all of this came out originally for cancer, right? You know, obviously, your background, you know, I at this point in life, none of us haven't lost at least one loved one, right, to cancer. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be getting any better. Either. And so I know we have our peptide lab, right, coming online, and you know the goal is for cancer to look at the library, look at it, and then create specific treatments. And you know what Jocelyn's working on with the tumor vaccines, and then the peptide testing and stuff. And you know, I just wish, like, where was this when I was an athlete, right? Because it was just all guessing. Everything was, even now, today, people, you know, I talk to people all the time. I'm doing this peptide, I'm doing that peptide. But without this testing that you're talking about, we don't really know.
Yes.
You might feel better.
Yes.
Right? But like I always jokingly say, you know, people talk about their diets. People tell me, oh, I'm vegan and I feel better as a vegan. But if you're not looking at your blood work and you're not looking at what's really going on, then you don't know if your diet is actually good for you.
Yes.
And it's kind of the same thing, you know, with the peptides and these other treatments. So it's, you know, the thing I love about Ed is like he's always looking for the next level.
Yes.
He's always looking for the best stuff. And that's why it's so great to have somebody like, you know, such a high level expert like you on our whole team. And we have such a great team of high level expert people. And, you know, you mentioned that you're honored, but I'm always honored. And I think that it's great that, you know, we're just this little hospital in Tijuana, Mexico, right? We're not even in a cool place to really go. I mean, I like Tijuana, but let's face it, it's not Hawaii or something like that. But the uniqueness of this new building that we have with all of the different floors, like, have you ever worked somewhere before where you had, you know, you could come up with a groundbreaking new treatment diagnosis or something, and then have the patients just downstairs and then have the lab just there to see exactly what's going on?
No, I haven't had this chance before. And basically, this makes it very unique. And basically, that's a real translational factor. That's what we call translational medicine, that you have the opportunity from patient to medical doctor to scientists to basically bioinformaticians to engineers and to those people who design new diagnostics, new treatments, and you combine them all together and magic happens. It's like the whole basically set of cards to play. And regarding where we are, I think the more important is what we do. So yes, we are in Mexico, and our center headquarters is in Mexico, but what we do and what it can impact is globally. And actually this morning I was pointing out this to someone through our conversation, and I mentioned a point which is related to our conversation. I can bring it up. Sometimes it's important that what is the question that you are addressing? What is the problem which is underexplored for mankind that you are addressing? And that defines the significance of your work. Sometimes you are in a very luxurious, place with maybe endless budgets and so many people involved in that, but that passion, that picking up the right question to answer is not there. That vision, that what is the thing that you're going to bring to the table is not there. Are you going to make another version of this luxurious car or another version of this, version 0.2 of this treatment or so, or you're going to bring something to the table which is never exist before. And some of the stuffs that we are dealing here they are heavy lifts. We are dealing with addressing cancer treatments from a totally underexplored angle, and that's even biggest cancer institute, biggest research institute that I had privilege to work in, maybe didn't have a program up to this point, to the best of my knowledge, to address it, or maybe didn't find the right team that is so diversely talented that can tackle it from different angles and dare to have the confidence that bring a concrete outcome from that. But I would say with honor and confidence that we have that vision, and beside the ordinary things that we are doing in medicine, we are also focused on extraordinary medications and pathways to address unanswered questions related to human health, human happiness, and I always envision myself that, I have been going through immigration twice in my life. It's like burning your house twice.
Yeah.
Burning all of the bridges twice. And you have to say many goodbyes to loved ones. And I know that, when you have a loved ones and dealing with a terminal condition and you had to say goodbye, how hard it is. And when I encounter a challenge, scientific challenge, we have a lot. I envision myself that, the work that I'm doing, maybe it would just convert that moment that someone has to say goodbye to a loved one, to a moment that you reunited them, reconnect them, and just start a new season in their love story of life, of their life. And that impact itself, if we can bring one of these things that we are talking about become a reality for just one person, I would say it would impact a whole generation. But we are confident that many of them become reality for many people. So I would say I would like to send this message to our audience that, we are a team of dreamers. And we are a team of dreamers that have also a concrete sense of reality. We have seen the bottom of the well. We have encountered the dark side of the life.
Oh, yeah.
And we know and appreciate light. We know what sorrow, what is pain, and psychologically, spiritually, we are committed to bring the hope to the hopeless. And that's what gives meaning on a daily basis to my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel the exact same way. I never in my whole life would ever thought I'd be working with cancer patients the way I get to, and talking to them and working with them and giving that gift to somebody, even if it's one more day, one more week, one more month, years. We have patients. We started this 10 years ago. I have patients that I still talk to today that came the first. We opened in April 10 years ago. So this month, that I still contact me who at home they were just told to give up. There was nothing, and to see how much it's been evolved. Between mostly starting with Ed and his ideas, but then as the scientists and the PhDs have come and informed us more and got behind us, and that's the best thing I think about TAM is that in talking to over the years all of the great scientists that we have, lots of people come visit here, but when you're in the same building with the patient, right? And then you get to feel their happiness, but also, like you said, the dark, see the relatives, their pain, that saying goodbye. It just puts a different kind of fire in your spirit, a different kind of have to. For me, there's nothing worse than, falling in love with a patient and getting to know them and their family. And when things don't work, that your mind going, what else could we have done? What else is out there? And for me, that's the best part of getting to meet all the scientists, all the people, having Roche come and I can't believe how many times I've been in the room where someone says the word Nobel, I was like, really? This is, so I guess I'm just so blessed to be, around it every day. But it's so awesome when somebody from the outside comes out in and tells us, our team, you, me, everybody, wow, we're really doing something different here. And we really get a chance to change some lives, right? Inshallah. Inshallah.
Yeah, as Goethe mentioned, I want to quote from Goethe, the famous German poet. I love poetry and I love poets. He says, be bold and all the mighty forces may come to your aid.
Yeah.
And we are doing the same. We are bold and we have the right tools and right people. And along the way, serendipitously, the mighty forces come to the aid of our patients through our hands, through our innovations, through our the way that we treat patients like family. Because I have seen when patients come, you treat them like your family.
Absolutely.
And everyone else in the team. Yeah. And this is like a model, I would say. In maybe a few years after all of these projects and plans that we are talking about become a solid reality, in few years people would talk about it as a model in medical fields on how to approach untreatable or undruggable diseases, and create new paths to create hope and new therapies.
Yeah. It's time for a change. We hear it from our patients all the time, that when they're at home, they feel like a number. Nobody cares about them. And I think one of the blessings for us of being here in Tijuana and being in Mexico is that, that it's their culture to care about people.
Yes.
I love that about them. A lot like Persians, you know what I mean? It's just like, sometimes I feel like as America, we just kind of care about ourselves a little bit too much, and everything's about family here. So,
yes.
It just makes sense that we have that built in.
Yes.
It's in our roots here.
Yes, it's Mexico has a history as an ancient civilization, and caring and faith and family, and those are the values that in modern life is faded, I would say. It's not forgotten, but it's faded. The gene of that is turned off.
Yeah. You got to put that book back in the library for everybody.
Yeah. You have to read it again.
Yeah.
And it's good also that, it's a epigenetic impact of this environment also. You also see at the same time that you're dealing with great people, you see another level of life which people are struggling with daily life, and we see poverty also in this city. And when you see these levels of life, it reconnects you to the core of life. And that's an opportunity to basically turn on your consciousness, your ethical value, your human ethics, which I think is our GPS. And we need all, as scientists or businessmen or whatever we do, that GPS, that ethical human ethic value that guide us in order to choose right destination, right path. And I think combination of that is here. And we like to serve our patient. We are not, you and your colleagues and friends, Ed and Dedrick, you make money. You're well off, right? You don't need to invest multi-million-dollar on the next cancer therapeutics. Mm-hmm. You don't need to invest on so many new hirings, building 4 labs, 3 stories, which it's a big capital investment for next therapeutic related to oligotherapeutic or peptide. Personally, you don't need that. But what I think as a kind of like unbiased person see as your friend, as your colleague, is your intention, is you want to basically do your service. And that level of basically that internal information that I'm sharing with the patient, maybe they are unaware of that. So there is a big amount of goodwill.
Well, we're being bold.
Yeah,
as you said,
there's a big amount of goodwill, which is in the current business world. Rarely you will encounter that. People always wants to have more and more and more in terms of dollar sign, their bank accounts, something like that. So this bold investment on something underexplored, it's really humanitarian. And I want the audience be aware of this aspect of this, because this aspect create faith, because you are good people.
Well, thank you. I'm only a good person. I'm only as good as I am as my team, and so I'm happy to have you on my team. And I hear that a lot. Why he's still working, but I can't imagine really doing anything else. I'm addicted to it. I work every day, and nothing feels better. Nothing gets you a spot in the pearly gates than taking care of somebody's loved one, taking their pain away, taking their misery away, and, bringing that joy, figuring out how to turn on that joy methylation, that happiness, that healing methylation. So, well, let's wrap this up. Ali, it was awesome. I learned so much from you today, and I really hope everybody out there in our podcast land learned a lot. And, man, I'd like to do this again, like maybe every 3 or 4 months, if you could update us with what's going on.
It's my honor.
And I love how you can explain things that, a non-scientific guy a guy that's been kicked in the face many times can understand it. So thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much. I really want to thank you for this opportunity to have this privilege to basically share my vision and mission with our basically audience. And I hope that we can do a lot together.
We will.
We'll do.
We will. As I said, inshallah, we will.
Thank you.